Greetings, everyone. Welcome to THL's
Yeah.
one and only Hearthcenter. I am one of your hosts, Lotus Knight, and I am joined by our great special um, cast for tonight. On my left side, we have the one and only Super Chicken. Chicken, how are you?
I'm great as always. Yeah, always excited to recap the matches that happened last week, and yeah, excited to do it with a slightly different lineup.
For sure. And next to me on my other side, we have Geranium Battle. Geranium, how are you?
I am doing swell and excited for the news coming up this week, possibly.
For sure. We'll talk about that in a bit, but I want to talk about our special host tonight. We have Turtle joining us for I don't know how long it's been since the last time. So, how are you doing, Turtle?
Oh, I'm doing great. So glad to be back on Hearthcenter. It has been quite a while since I've been on, so it's fun to be back to chat about Hearthstone.
For sure. And we have a lot to talk about today, so I'm going to keep us on schedule, hopping straight into Players of the Week. Is everyone ready?
Yeah, let's take a look.
All right, so we're going to start with Hero. Chicken, do you want to tell us our Hero Player of the Week?
Our hero player of the week is Mr. Python. Oh, thank you, Max, for writing this. uh, Sounds like we've got a real upset on our hands. Mr. Python returned to form with this back and forth 5-game series over Ridiculous Hat. F12 Black had not had a great start to the season, and neither did Python, but this match gave his team hope to take down the top team in purple. And all of that hope coalesced into a huge tie? Okay, well, it's the best news Python has seen in Heroes since Soul DH rotated. Okay, yeah, congrats to Mr. Python.
Yeah, congrats, Mr. Python, on your Hero Player of the Week. Turtle, do you want to tell us the Legacy Player of the Week?
Yeah, for sure. Seebeck 1 got Player of the Week for Legacy. Looking for his first win of the season, Seebeck faced off against the undefeated opponent and proceeded to end his losing streak and his opponent's win streak today with a 3-0 victory to help give the Cooler a much-needed win heading into the 2 final weeks of the regular season in the playoff hunt for the Gold Conference. Congratulations on Player of the Week and keep up the great work.
Nice, congrats, CBX 1 on your Legacy win. Geranium, you want to tell us our Pro Player of the Week?
Of course. Because not only are they the most dire, they are also the most valuable and the most why did you write it like that? Player of the week-ish. In a tight week 5 match, E.T. Yogg Saron needed every point that they could get to sneak by against a perfect 10 Murloc. 13-12, and they got a key 3-1 victory by Dire Despair over Yo Daddy to help secure the win. Congrats on the strong performance. Thank you, Dr. Bomb-D, for writing it like that.
Thank you, Dr. Bomb D. And congratulations, Dire Spare. Chicken, do you want to tell us our European Player of the Week?
Our EU Pro Player of the Week is Max VDP. Last week was a huge week for the Pan Cooks. With a sweep, they jumped from 4th in their standings all the way up to 2nd. Despite a 3-2 record on the season, they leapt over ET and Azoth at 4-1. Their captain, Max VDP, is currently holding down the fort in the 5 seed at a positive record. Positive records across the entire team is a pretty good sign if you ask me. Last week he delivered a tight 3-2 victory in contribution to the sweep. Congrats to you and your team, Max VDP, and thank you to Based Inc. for the submission.
Nice, congrats, Max VDP, for your Player of the Week result. And finally, Turtle, do you want to tell us our Wild Player of the Week?
Yeah, for Wild, after 5 weeks, the Sourdough Shakers is the only undefeated team, as well as the only team who has over 100 points. In order to stay undefeated, Seth had a win against Core Bet last week. Not only did Seth manage to win, but they also did it with style, with a very fun off-meta deck, a Reno Hero Power Mage. Will Seth and the Sourdough Shakers win against the other Shakers team this week in order to keep their streak alive? Stay tuned. Good job on your win, and congrats on getting the Player of the Week award written up by Copa. Congrats, Seth, on Player of the Week in Wild.
Nice. Congratulations, Mr. Python, CBX1, Dirus Bear, Max VDP, and the wild card, Seth. If you want to get to Player of the Week next week, I know, just win well. Keep winning, and at some point, you will be on the list if you're not Rebob. So with that, let's move to Hero Series. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start Hero
Yeah.
by looking at the match of Ice Clown Citadel facing F12 Black. And our specialist who is going to tell us about this match is Super Chicken. Chicken, tell us what happened here.
Yeah, so in this one, we have a tie. And this is one of the more surprising ties I've seen in recent memory. We had F2L Black, who was 0-4 going into this week, versus Ice Clown Citadel, which was, I believe, like number 1 or number 2 in all of Hero Series. And these two teams tied. Mainly off the back of Rebob sweeping Neji in the 1 seed, which is where most of the points came from. And yeah, F2L Black getting the tie despite losing 2 out of the 3 matches, but even in their losses, they picked up 2 points each, which yeah, all points matter. And yeah, this certainly shows it. Getting like the difference between like 3-0 and 3-2 is so massive, and the fact that F2L Black was able to get a tie out of this is pretty huge. I'm not sure if this is something that can really save their season. I'd say probably can't. Like they're still in last place after this. But it is a really strong showing for them, and I mean certainly something to be proud of.
For sure. Geranium, anything you want to share about this one?
Yeah, pointing to them being in or out of playoff chances, they are currently 23 points behind the team that is in the third place in Purple Conference. So with 2 weeks left, that seems almost impossible. It's technically possible, but they'll probably need to basically sweep both of these final 2 weeks and have everyone else just pick each other apart. So only 2 things that are true in life. One is sweep Neji every time. I've every single result I've seen of Rebob versus Neji has been Rebob high rolling Neji, or not necessarily high rolling, but that was not quite enough to get F2L Black the win here. But I do think that that this is a big marquee to maybe F2L Black trying to make a comeback.
For sure. For sure. Turtle, anything you want to share about this match, or should we just hop on to our second hero match of the night?
I mean, just again, what Chicken said, super impressive showing from F2L Black. Should definitely be proud of tying the first place team.
For sure. Now, let's move on to our second match. And this one is not a tie. We'll come back to ties in other matches and later. But Geranium, why don't you tell us about the late bloomers facing another pleasant meeting?
Yes, late bloomers took it over the other APM team in Hero, and it was a pretty big win for late bloomers. Always just in time, 1 in the 1 over Stinzy. Diamond, 1 in the 2 seed over Moon. Copa was the 1 win for APM, getting a sweep over Pokemon 661. G-Kick, AB, took the 3-1 over Joltsy. So 3-1s, pretty much all the way down for late bloomers, and a sweep the other way. At the start of this last week, APM was at the top of purple, and then late bloomers is now, I believe, 1 point behind the top of purple. So changing of the guarding block, the last possible, the relegation spot, let's say.
Yeah. Let's say Turtle. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your view on the late bloomers versus APM?
Yeah, huge win here from the late bloomers, picking up 8 points over APM, which was well more than enough to shoot them above APM in the standings. So yeah, big week from late bloomers here, coming down to the wire, but they're fighting hard to keep themselves in the playoffs. You could call them the Wolves of THL, really.
There are no Wolves fans in chat, or probably a lot of people who don't even know who the Wolverhampton Wanderers are, but that's okay.
I have no idea who they are, but I kind of want to note one thing that, well, given that it's Nerf week, it's expected we see this, but there's so many rogue bans. Just so many rogue bans. Chicken, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you might say that Rogue is a good class. Joltsy did not agree and promptly lost. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's not too much to say about it. I'm interested to see how hard Rogue is going to get nerfed. Not to jump ahead too far, or not to get ahead of ourselves too far, but yeah, it's a pretty one-dimensional kind of ban strategy right now in Hero. Like it's just like, I mean, I think we've talked about this before on the show, but it's just such a massive risk to leave Rogue up. Um, Demon Hunter is also quite a strong class, and people sometimes ban Demon Hunter as well. But I think the sort of prevailing strategy in this meta was certainly just to ban Rogue, forget about it, and then bring other decks that kind of cover your other matchups. So yeah, I'm excited to see maybe some new strategies in Hero in the coming weeks, and hopefully we don't have another deck at Rogue's power level.
True. So I kind of there's something interesting to talk about in the next match. So Turtle, why don't we move on to our third hero match on Dead Legend versus the Cult?
Yeah, this is wow. Like looking at the score 20-5, this is one of the biggest stomps that I've ever seen in THL. Dad Legend just getting a ton of points, as many as they possibly could have this week, which was very necessary. Now just squeaking by just above F12 Obsidian. So huge week here for Dad Legend, getting them back into that playoff contention. Yeah, we have Mickey in the 1 beating Kronos 3-1. We have Ducharmo sweeping Contrary. We have Pescatarian getting a 3-1 win over Swelly. Risen going 3-2 over It's Me Mike V, and then Yellow Dart going 3-1 over Quaz. So only one of these games went to the final match 5. So just really good week here from Bad Legend over the Colt.
And only 4 of these matches were played.
Yeah, it was
Oh yeah, there just isn't
actually a
bans
3-0
too.
for Deshaun.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about this because this was a week with a very heavy number of DQs, and we usually don't feature DQs on Hearthcenter, but I kind of wanted to make a PSA that DQs are not fun for anyone involved. So play your matches, schedule your matches, don't make this kind of mistake. If you lose, you lose, but at least you tried. Like losing on a technicality feels so much worse. Geranium, what do you think?
As a captain, I very much respect it when people are, um, whether the captain's able to or not, when people are willing to say, yes, I made a commitment at the start of the season. If you need me to, I will play out my matches. And I have had players on my team that have disappeared, and that's really not fun. And I've also had players on my team who have made that commitment and who have um, even if they can't put in as much effort, even if they don't have the time, still showing up, making sure that there's no DQs, making sure that at least players play games and have fun is what THL that people kind of understand that, and at least want to have a little bit of fun, even if competitive Hearthstone is different. But we'll see.
Turtle, anything you want to say about DQs and about your feeling with this higher number of DQs?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of obvious why we're getting a lot of DQs this week with the esports announcement. A lot of people may be demotivated from continuing with competitive Hearthstone, but like THL has always been for fun. Like we're all just having a bunch of fun. This season's almost over. Just tough it out till the end of it, and if you want to reconsider playing next season, then you can do that next season. But we only have 2 more weeks left, so just have fun these last couple weeks. Then you can consider your future with competitive HS then.
Chicken, anything you want to say here?
Yeah, no, I certainly understand like people like instantly losing a ton of motivation. Like I was pretty sad about the announcement as well. Um and yeah, it certainly makes sense why we had like lots of DQs. I think a lot of people just I know like some people just basically uninstalled the game like immediately and were like, yeah, I'm done. That's it for me. Um which is, I mean, it's certainly understandable if this game was a competitive outlet for you and it can no longer really be that. I could certainly see why people would just kind of say, yeah, this game isn't really for me anymore. But yeah, the DQ aspect is really unfortunate because yeah, people want to play their matches. So if yeah, if you need to be DQ'd, always try to communicate early and with a sudden change like the announcement, I guess if you're able to play out your match just for the week so that you don't give your captain an aneurysm, that would be cool too. But yeah, it's certainly just an unfortunate situation.
So, I want to come back to the match and ask if anyone has any final points they want to say about Dead Legend versus the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, like Turtle mentioned before, this really puts Dad Lynch in the mix. They're actually in a playoff spot now. Um, so I mean, if they have like another 20-point week like this, they should be close to a lock, provided F12 Obsidian doesn't uh rack up a ton of points as well. I mean, there's certainly not a lock at all right now, based on how close Obsidian is, but yeah, I mean, this is a really good look. I mean, getting hot later in the season is always a good look for a team, and has certainly led a lot of teams to championships in the past.
So, I want to take a look at the standings for Hero because we don't have that many weeks left in most series. So let's take a look at Hero standings, chicken. What does this mean for teal and purple?
So in teal, at the top, we have the Department of League Administration with 89 points. Then right below them is Sorry Lads acquires the title at 86. Then below them at 78 points is Dad Legend. At 75 points, we have F2L Obsidian. And we have Always Packin' Mana at 60 points. And at 36 points, we have The Cult. And then in purple, should I go over purple after?
No, you can go for it.
All right. Yeah, let's just round out the conferences. We have Ice Clown Citadel at 81 points. Right behind them are the Late Bloomers at 80 points. Another Pleasant Meeting at 75. And then Abusing PR Management, the other APM team in purple at 72 points. At 66 points, we have ET Yasharaj. And finally, the last place team in purple conference is F2L Black. So kind of similar compositions or like makeups, I guess, of the conferences. You kind of have four teams that are all kind of competitively fighting for a playoff spot, and you have kind of two teams that are a bit below the rest. Where ET Yasharaj could get into a playoff spot, but it's certainly an uphill battle. 9 points back of the next team in playoffs. Even harder for Always Packin' Mana in that 5th place spot, 18 points back. But yeah, purple's definitely looking a bit tighter. Department of League-wide Administration is starting to pull ahead a little bit, although how many points they have will very much depend on their next week because they're playing the 2nd place team in teal. And yeah, as for purple, it's incredibly close. I mean, I wouldn't say any team in purple is safe right now. Like even just one bad week for one of these top two teams could mean they fall out of a playoff spot.
That's true. That's true. This is going to be a tight end of series as we're getting to these final
So many
weeks.
teams at 3-2.
Yeah, there's just so many teams that still stand a chance. It's kind of crazy. Anyone wants to share any further thoughts about the standings, about Hero, before we move on to PPR? All right, so Geranium, why don't you tell us what Hero player power rankings are looking like?
Of course. At 15th, our first honorable mention is going to be Copa. Copa is 4-1. Coming off the sweep is now 12-4. In time 3-2 with 13-11. Then Yo Daddy 4-1, 13-10. Donde also 4-1 with 14-8. Then we have another 3-2 player, Risen, 3-2 with 13-11. But finally, Rebobson, 4-1 Cat, previously undefeated, but now 4-1, 14-6. We've got Eternal in 8th place, 4-1, 12-8. Vino Spumoni is next, 3-2. Okay. Well, after all the 4-1s, we've got a 3-2, 13-6 record. Osmonaut also 3-2. Osmonaut's up here. But we've got Tab next. Tab back to the 4-1. This is 14-7. And then finally we've got undefeated players. 9 Eyebrows, who's 5-0, 15-5. Right above him is Super Chicken, 5-0, 15-5, literally the same point value. Literally, they're both 7.04861111. Okay, they're the same.
Geranium, can you
Have
hear
we
me?
lost Max?
We lost Max right as he was talking about 9 eyebrows and
All
chicken.
chicken? How do you?
So,
What? Oh, come on. Where did I
since
cut off?
you cut off in
Where
third
did he
place, so you
go?
didn't go into 2 and 1.
Okay. As I said, they're both 5-0, 15-5. They had the same points, so 7.04861111. Yes, and then
It just wasn't meant to be.
No, we are losing Geranium again, so I'm going to read these for the end. So we have my 2 teammates in second place, Ron Mexico, with a 5-0 record and a 15-7 score. And at first, we have board member 2-star Mako with a 15-5 as well. How do you differentiate between these? Well, the algorithm knows, and if you disagree, yeah, Marty. Anything else anyone wants to say? Sorry, Geranium, if you have any comments, anything you want to add.
I made it onto the power rankings in Hero this week, which is cool. The,
Yeah.
I
Not
couldn't
be on them
couldn't
next
find my
week.
name on the list last week, but I am here now. I might fall off the list next week if I go 5-1 playing Ron, which will probably happen because Ron always seems to beat
No.
me in Hero. There's
Guys, Shock Spitter's getting nerfed this week. Surely you'll beat Ron.
yeah, I will be playing after the patch. Mark my words. I will not be letting Ron sweep me with Hunter.
Nah, play before the patch. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea, I'm sure.
Well, with that in mind, I want to move us to Pro EU. So, talk about Pro EU. Chicken, why don't you tell us who made it to top 15 in Pro E EU?
All right. All right, so in our honorable mentions, we have Rami at 2-2 with a 10-8 game score. At 14th, we have Jack Attack at 3-2 with an 11-6 game score. Then we have Y the Hunter at 3-2 with a 13-6 game score. Right above him is Max VDP at 3-2 with a 12-9 game score. And our last honorable mention is Pigeon at 3-2 with a 12-11 game score. And rounding out our top 10 are Paliuha at 4-1, a 12-9 game score. JT Brinkers at 4-1 with a 10-4 game score. Fudov at 3-1 with a 10-6 game score. Lasagna at 4-1 with a 12-7 game score. Connor at 6th spot with the exact same match and game win rate as Lasagna. Then at 5th place, we have Brazuca with a 3-1 match score and an 11-5 game score. Donkey at 4-1 with a 12-4 game score. 3rd place is Chewy at 4-1 with a 14-7 game score. And we have our 2 5-0s with a 15-6 game score each. In second is Itachi, and then our best player in EU Pro is Judgment. Yeah, congrats to everyone who made the EU Pro PPR.
Yeah, really congrats to everyone here and in Hero PPR. You made one of them. That's amazing. Anything Geranium or Turtle want to say about Pro EU PPR?
A lot of super strong names here. A lot of players that we are quite familiar with if you follow competitive. Always great to see them in
Is
JHL and performing here as well.
it is crazy when you have the two top players in PPR on the same team. Uh, uh, no wonder why F12 is at the top of this right now. We'll see. We'll see how these last 2 weeks fare.
For sure. So let's keep us moving into Legacy Series because there's still a lot to talk about. So we're going to hop on to Legacy Gold. Turtle, why don't you tell us about the Cooler facing ET Cthulhu?
Yeah, the Cooler getting another very needed win this week. Cooler picking up 14 points against ET Cthulhu, putting them tied up now with Dad Legend, putting them tied for second now in that gold conference. We've got big money in the one getting swept by Chewy 3-0, then CBX sweeping Pro back 3-0 in the 2 seed. And we have Bremen taking a 3-1 win over Lowbrow. Trito 2 beat Spin 3 in Game 5, and then Icer took Eternal down in Game 5. So a relatively close series. I mean, we saw 2 sweeps, 2 Game 5s, and it just came in under that 3 seed matchup of Bremen and Lowbrow, which Bremen did end up winning. So yeah, this puts the Cooler now right exactly where they needed it. Like if we saw another loss from Cooler, then their chances of making playoffs were looking kind of grim, but getting these 14 points here is looking pretty nice for them. If they continue to do well, they will be making playoffs.
Especially taking into account the fact that only the top 2 teams for each conference are guaranteed, other than our wild cards. So you really, really want to be in that spot if you can. But it's a tight week still for the Cooler facing ET Cthulhu. What do you think about it, Chicken?
Man, Legacy has been really exciting the past couple seasons. We've seen so many close teams fighting for those last playoff spots this season and last. And I'm always super excited to see all the matchups in the last couple of weeks because yeah, it's just such a tight race and it's so cutthroat and just everyone's trying so hard to get those last few points. And yeah, unfortunately, not everyone can make playoffs. But yeah, it just kind of makes it all the more exciting those last couple weeks.
Now, let's take a look at the standings for gold here.
Piggybacking off of that, I'm
Oh,
actually
go
going to
ahead.
say like the entire past. Okay. Nope,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm a minute and a half behind, I guess. The past like year and a half for Legacy have been really, really good. Both I remember back when Chaos Theory and F2L White were literally tied going into the last week, fighting for playoff spots, season to season. It was
Seems like we're losing Geranium again. I don't know. Can anyone else hear Geranium? Is it my bad?
Oh, it is definitely on him.
Yeah, having some small internet issues. Geranium, can you hear us?
I can hear you perfectly every single time. It's me getting words out, I guess.
Okay, it's better now, so go ahead. And you were talking about 2 teams that were competing head to head a lot in Legacy.
Yeah, F2L White and Chaos Theory were literally tied going into last week. It's been really close for a very long time. Very fun to watch. That's what I said.
Very fun indeed.
Legacy has been surprisingly competitive during the regular season for a while, and it's crazy to see it every year again and again, and still the level gets higher, the stakes get higher, still completely crazy. Um, so with that in mind, Turtle, what are the standings for gold looking like after this week?
Yeah, so legacy standings. We've got for our gold conference, we've got An Act to the Future soaring away with this conference at 87 points. We've got the Cooler in second with 75. Dad Legend also second with 75. Then we've got E.T. Cthulhu with 69 points. Activision Printing Money at 67. And then W2LTS at 54. So we've got one clear runner in the gold conference, but that second spot, pretty much any one of these teams can grab that with a couple of good weeks here towards the end of the season.
For sure. It does look like a lot in gold is up for grabs. Even in Act of the Future, there's still time to catch up. I hope not, because I'm in that team. But if you are facing us, there's still time. I would say anything is possible still, but we are getting to the point where there are only 2 weeks left, if I'm not mistaken. And if I am, someone can correct me. But it's getting close. So with that in mind, shall we move over to Red Conference?
Yeah, let's take a look.
All right. So Geranium, tell me about your team, the Cloudstoners, facing Defias.
Do it. C. Colon Loungestoners took the win over Defias, but it was a lot closer than it's been in previous weeks. 14-10. Neji Boston, I believe, started it off with the 3-1 over Wild 9. But then I think it was the Rio Lure taking game 4 win over Canoe. Then Molestar came in with the sweep over Classy Thug, and then My Curse took the 3-1 over Kodomora. Whichever team won the last match or win over Neb Canuck to bring us the 14-10, keep us undefeated.
So, Turtle, anything you want to share about Cloudstoners facing Defias?
Yeah, just the Cloudstoners showing why they are the only undefeated team in Red Conference. 100 points as well. Like, we've barely seen any teams who have made it to 100 points. And yeah, Cloudstoners, like, is it even possible for them to be caught up with? I guess technically if they get literally 0 points and the rest of the teams get like 20. But yeah, Cloudstoners is just completely running away with this Red Conference.
For sure. Chicken, anything you want to share about this match or Cloudstoners versus Defias in general?
Yeah, I mean, you would almost. I mean, based on their points per week, this is a down week for the Cloudstoners. Only getting 17. They are actively tanking their points per week with this win, and that's just how dominant their season has been so far. I mean, anytime you have Molestar in the 2 on your team, you are set up for success pretty well. I mean, Molestar has been a pretty successful 1 seed most of the time. And I think he's just a very, very exceptional player. Rayscription has been playing quite well in the 3 seed this season as well, moving up from the 4 seed. And I mean, yeah, this is just the defending champion team with a couple changes. So it's not really surprising to see them doing so well.
It turns out when you have Canoe bringing not only monkey decks, he actually wins games. What?
Let's not spoil people's secrets here, but Geranium, why don't you tell us what the standings for Reddit are looking like after this one?
Of course, at the Stoners at 103 points, defeated. Then Copa Keepers, 76 points, 3, 1, and 1. Then F2L White, 71 points, 3 and 2. Defias, 65 points, with 1 win, 2 losses, and 2 ties. Vanished Venters, a little bit behind them, 62 points, 2 and 3. And then finally, bringing up the rear is the Hero Power Button Pressers, 57 points, 2 and 3 record. And and 23 points ahead of second. Even though Hero Power Button Pressers is, it's if a team can win both their last 2 weeks, that's probably a guarantee.
All right, so still a lot to go in red. I want to move us to the final conference of Legacy, the Silver Conference. So, Chicken, tell us what happened with Chicken Team facing Rats of average size.
Oh yeah, sorry, Lotus, you must have misread there. It's actually the season 23 format best of 5 with 1 ban competitors. So rudely cut off on the THL website. I would like to add, someone should fix that. Yeah, this was our our team is our team is now 4-1. Somehow we are tied with a team that is 3-2, but yeah, this is a pretty big week for us because this was against at least I think at the start of the week they were in first place, and we knocked them all the way down to third place because they only got 9 points and they lost the week. So I really can't remember who played in what order. I think Kitten played first and won, and Tab also played fairly early. I know. Oh, okay, yeah. Gamer Dude played last, I think. But yeah, there were a few of us playing like Sunday evening, so a lot of our matches happened in succession. So yeah, kind of as you'd expect. Turtle losing as usual. The rest of us.
I've won 1 week. Come on.
The rest of us winning, except for Gamer Dude. But I'd say, man, I'm surprised. What is Superhero doing in the 3 seed? She was like a 10-2 2 seed on the when she won with the cooler. So I don't know. I mean, she seems to be doing quite well this season. So as you would expect, but yeah, somehow she's in the 3 seed on a team doing pretty well. So yeah, I think the Rats are doing pretty well still. I mean, I think they're currently occupying a wild card spot. I don't fact check me on that. But I'm pretty sure they are. So they're still in a playoff spot. They still need to do quite well in their next 2 weeks to make playoffs, or at least stay consistent. But yeah, certainly doable for both of these teams to make playoffs.
Right. And there's still room, and we're going to talk about the other team who has a chance. But I want to ask Turtle if he has any highlights of his match he wants to share.
Both of my Null evolves also hit Null, and both of before Christ's Evolves or Seth's Evolves hit big minions, so that's how that series went. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad I have some pretty cracked teammates who are carrying me through this Legacy season. I mean, and then there's Gamer Dude, but like, that's fine. Gamer Dude has to make sure he loses to keep me in the 2, right? Like that, it's tactical.
It's about keeping the team together on PR.
Exactly.
Gamer Dude knows how to sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, our team, like, our bottom 2 seeds, Tab and Ken, have just been doing amazing this season, getting us a whole bunch of points.
The ASU Hearthstone farm system is real.
It is
and
very
it's
real.
being funneled straight into the format BO5 with one band competitors.
We're just missing what, like Skirt, and then we'd have the God team.
Yeah, we just need to get rid of this dead weight on our team. Bring in Skirt and 9, and then it'll just truly be my
So
ASU.
what, get rid of
farm
Gamer Dude
team.
and you? Okay.
So, let me move us to our next match so we end around time tonight. So, our second match we're going to talk about in Silver, Turtle was going to tell us about the standard THL Degenerates facing Got Justin.
Yeah, so the standard THL Degenerates also having a win this week to get them now first place, just right above our team. Getting a win over Got Justin. We have Memnarch in the 1 seed going 4-0 now with a 3-1 win over Wild Rose. We have Dr. Bomb D losing to Pokemon 3-1. We've got Infinite beating Pigpen 3-2. Risen beating Skirt 3-1. And then we've got Saku taking down Organic Milk in the 5 at 3-1. So yeah, pretty nice week here from the standard THL Degenerates to keep them in that playoff contention with these kind of top 3 teams here of standard THL Degenerates. Season 23 format best of 5 with 1 band competitors and rats of average size.
So, I want to ask Geranium if he has any thoughts on this match.
Yeah, I see that so Justin's unfortunately are only getting a couple wins. You know, they're still seems like finding their footing after always just in time stepped away from the top spot there. But you know, seeing that the Infinite and Wild Rose are still able to pick up wins and people are still switching spots around like that, means that the Justin team still has hope. I think that getting the wins over Dr. Bomdi and Pigpen, Bomdi who used to be a 1 seed for standard THL Degenerates, you know, it's big wins even if they didn't end up winning the week.
Fair point. So, I know Turtle talked about it a bit, but let's take a look at the standings. Chicken, what are the standings for Silver looking like?
Yeah, in Silver, we have 2 teams tied at the top of Silver Conference. We have the standard THL Degenerates with a 3-2 team record, and the season 23 format best of 5 with 1 band competitors at 4-1. And then right below them, we have the Rats of Average Size at 77 points. Below them are the Stubs at 66, Got Justin at 59 points, and the Hot Sylphs at 56 points.
Right, so there's still a lot of game to go in Silver Conference, but we do see the same 3 teams kind of pulling ahead of everyone else. curious
Yeah.
if they're going to keep it up this last few weeks.
Yeah, I don't expect STD and the competitors to save the same amount of points. But are tiebreakers head to head first?
I don't know what they are for the sheet. I think for going in, yes. It depends if there are two teams or three teams with the same score.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was talking about playoffs or like playoff seeding, I guess, if we finish top two. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, playoff seeding with just two teams in it is just head to head. Yeah.
Yeah, we could have a three-way tie as well. It's certainly possible here as well. That would be pretty funny. But yeah, the Silver Conference has at least there's definitely two distinct groupings there. But yeah, the top three teams have been pretty competitive with each other and have certainly had some close weeks this season.
For sure. Now, in the interest of keeping it going, let's take a look at PPR for Legacy. So, right now, Turtle, why don't you tell us Legacy, the 15 players who made it into the player power rankings starting from the bottom?
Starting off our honorable mentions, we've got 15th Fire Noodle, 4-1 with a 13-8 game score. 14th, we've got Chewy, 4-1 with a 13-7 game score. 13th, we've got Canoe, 4-1 with a 13-5. 12th, we've got Cherub, 4-1 with a 14-5 game score. 11th, we've got Tab, 4-1 with a 14-7 game score. And now on to our top 10 for Legacy so far. We have got, coming in at 10, Ron Mexico, 4-1 with a 14-6 game score. 9th is Molestar, 4-1 with a 14-8 game score. 8th is My Curse at 4-1 with a 14-8 game score. Rice Cryption 4-0 with a 12-5 game score. 6th, we've got Stinzy 7-1 with a 14-6 game score. 5, we've got Seth at 5-0. First undefeated player on our list at 15-6 game score. 4, we've got Bone Masher 4-1 with a 14-9 game score. 3rd place, Copa 5-0 at 15-4. Second, Memnarch 4-0 at 12-4. And then coming in first place in Legacy, we've got Neji Boston 5-0 with a 15-5 game score.
These are some very familiar names. It feels like a lot of players are just using the season to do very well. How do you feel about it, Turtle?
Yeah, it's like when you've got the honorable mentions starting at 4-1, like we don't have anyone with 3-2 on our honorable mentions. It just shows like the good players in Legacy are winning pretty consistently. So shows that there is quite a bit of thought in lineup decisions that go in for all these players to make sure that they can all keep up these high scores.
For sure. Now, I'm going to move us to Wild, where I want to see if we have a similar effect. Chicken, what is PPR looking like in Wild?
Yeah. In Wild, our honorable mentions start with Dr. BOMD at 3-2 with an 11-10 game score. And we have Azalea Akari at 3-2 with a 12-8 game score. And we have MTG Squirrel at 3-2 with a 13-10 game score. At 12th, we have X Tuliop at 4-1 with a 12-10 game score. And our last honorable mention, the Right Honorable Marty B at 3-2 with a 13-9 game score. Then in our top 10, at 10th, we have Corbett at 3-1 with a 10-4 game score. 9th is Bree Bobson at 4-1 with a 12-7 game score. 8th is Tiger Eye at 4-1 with a 14-10 game score. At 7th, we have Dankest Dad at 3-0 with a 9-5 game score. At 6th, we have Guarzales at 4-1 with a 13-9 game score. And then in our top 5, we have Reno Jackson at 4-1 with a 14-8 game score. 4th is Lorthos at 4-0 with a 12-4 game score. Maxibon1234 is our 3rd place member of the Wild PPR with a 4-1 match record and a 14-3 game score. Only three game losses. So, he had swept all his opponents previously and has now only lost 1 match. Then our last 2 5-0 players are Seth Forchrist at 15-5 and Waluigi Time at 15-8. Yeah, congrats to all players who made the Wild PPR.
Yeah, congratulations to all these amazing Wild players. Is there anything you want to say about Wild PPR?
Sorry, I mean, I'm obviously lagging, but I was just trying to say that that Maxibon was 12-0 to start the week, then 14-0 in the middle of his match, and then now you can see 14-3. Very unfortunate ending to the streak, but still extremely dominant player. And Waluigi Time is picking up the slack.
For sure. We don't have a Wild show, but Wild has been a hot season, so keep an eye out for Wild. And
Where
with
is this
that,
Wild show?
well, we'll see if it comes back at some point. But let's go to our caster screen where we have our commercial break. Yeah, that's right. We have a very special commercial, as always. It's gotten to the point where it's very easy to read, no problem at all. And Turtle is going to do us the grace of reading us our commercial. Are you ready, Turtle?
I've never been more prepared for anything in my life.
Go for it.
Yo, 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 yo. Hey there, Twitch viewers. Have you subscribed to Team Hearth Fatigue? Bet. Then make sure today the Big A. Then make today the Big A League. EU yourself and subscribe to our channel. This subscription enables the THL team to cover various costs of cooperating our website, as well as the improved quality of our streams and the content to our viewers. If you have AP Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime, you can subscribe to the channel now down for free. Subscribers will get the THL emoji bong as well as the THL chat badge. So hit the thumbs up button and keep the notifications bing bong to make sure you catch our team's bat chesting live. We appreciate each and every one of you homies. A special note to our viewers, chill out to thrill out THL's other social media disappoints of bat chest. Webkite, teamhearthleague.com. Catch us on Twitter at THL_HS. Join us on Discord, Team Darth Vader League. Face us on Hearthstone, Ron Mexico, #11686. The true Hearth legends Saku and Father420 continue to post all of our videos to our YouTube channel. And our true Hearth legend himself, Ronald Mexico, continues to post all our Hero Championship banners on our THL website. Just search for, quote, Team Hearth Cope to see everything previously recorded. You are watching us on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Team Hearth League, or possibly our YouTube channel in the future. For all of you THL fans out there, there were sometimes THL shows most of days of the week. So you can't go crunch turning in any time for some Hearthstone related content. Now, back to the doomed part. Ka-chow.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you, Turtle, for that beautiful read.
It's only gonna get worse.
Oh yeah, I don't know
They
who's
were
doing it
editing
next week,
as I was
but
speaking. Like I was reading a line, and like the very next line, someone is editing what I'm gonna say. It's like so good.
Oh yeah. Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah, that's one of the things we like to do to make it extra spicy, because otherwise it's too easy. You will know
Like,
what
I
you'll
don't even know
get.
what I'm gonna say. They could write whatever they want, and I'm just saying it. Like CHR ad reads are the goat.
So, with that, we're going to move on to Black Conference in Pro, where our first match is going to be a the match that happened between a Perfect 10 Murloc and ET Yogg Saron. And to tell us about this match, we have Turtle himself. Turtle, what happened with the Perfect 10 Murloc facing ET Yogg?
Yeah, so very close match here. 13-12. Relatively low scoring as well. So these teams very, very close together. In the 1 seed, we've got Chewy beating Swelly 3-1. In the 2, we had Pairwalks sweeping Gimme Lamp 3-0. In the 3, we had Direst Bear winning 3-1 over YoDaddy. In the 4, we had Trio taking it in 5 against Genji. And then in the 5 seed, we have Lowbrow beating Corridon 3-1. Yeah, these two teams very close together, kind of battling for that 4th spot. So getting this win here, let ET Yogg Saron just get those couple extra points. Still possible for them to climb up into that 3rd spot, only 6 points down. So very clutch win here from ET Yogg Saron, coming down to 1 single point between these two teams.
It's crazy. We usually don't see that small of a gap. Well, we do in Hearthcenter because we look for it, but it's
And also, like,
so tight.
yeah, and like a perfect Murloc being 4-1 and still having 5 more points than ET Yogg Saron, who are 3-2. That is kind of crazy to think of. A 4-1 team being in 4th place in the conference.
Oh, you mean a 1-4?
Or a
1-4,
1-4,
you're
yeah,
saying?
a 1-4 team. The team with the worst record
Yeah.
is still in 4th place. That is kind of wild to think about how their points have lined up.
And the team in 3rd is 2-3. It is well, like what is going on in Black Conference? It is very odd.
Yeah, there probably were a lot of matches where teams were heavily punished. Like, just some teams lost by a lot. Well, Perfect 10 Murloc keeps barely losing. So they don't get the 3 extra points, but they're doing fine. They don't have a bad average week. That would be my guess, based on the numbers. So with that into account, Geranium, how do you feel about this match?
Yeah, there's some pretty sad things to see here. You see Genji getting so used to banning Rogue that he didn't notice Trito 2 didn't bring Rogue. Uh, uh um we've got to see that. We've got trying to ban anything that isn't Rogue. Yeah, anyone who didn't ban Rogue immediately just lost their match off of that. So that's cool for Pro. So
Geranium, are you there? Or you
that was all I
continue?
wanted to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry. I didn't know if your internet was down again. So, this sounds like a good point for us to look at the Black Conference standings. Turtle, tell us, what are the Black Conference standings looking like?
Can someone else go over this after turning my homework real quick? It's doing like 10 minutes.
Sure. So I will do this one and then we'll move on to the next one. So we have in the Black Conference, Brushy Tuna going strong at 97. And 12 points behind them, we have the Punish Ape at 85. Now, you would expect these teams to kind of be followed by a smooth ladder, but no, everyone else is kind of together clumped. You have Big W Esports at 69 points, a Perfect 10 Murloc at 68, ET Yogg-Saron at 63, Frog Champs at 62, Swagoy at 60, and Sushi Rats at 60. I think this is a good point where I ask, what is really going on? I don't think we've seen this in a long time where it's like, hey, there are two teams doing well, and then everyone else is just holding hands, walking together. There's really no one last. It's just they're all walking together. Chicken, anything you think of here?
Yeah, I mean the top two teams are pretty much locked for playoffs now. It'd be I even Shed Ape here, it'd be pretty difficult for like three teams to pass them. But yeah, as for the kind of positions 3 through 6, it really is anyone's spot. I mean, the sixth place team, Frog Champs, is they're only 7 points behind Big W Esports in third. So it another series where it's actually probably going to come down to the wire again. I haven't looked at the schedule. I'm not sure who's playing who in what weeks, but yeah, this schedule really, really affects how these teams are going to do in the next few weeks and how these standings are going to turn out. I I imagine at least one of these teams are playing each other in the last 2 weeks. Sorry, so yeah, I mean, one of those matches will surely decide who gets in and who is left behind.
I will say another thing that heavily decides this is especially with Pro, who is deciding to continue playing the game or not. I know a lot of teams have been hard hit by it, and I think Pro is the hardest hit because that was where the most competitive.
Yeah, to echo Geranium's feeling, this is where you're going to see the losses of a few players just hurting teams a lot. And we're going to have to see what happens. And if people just come back this week and sweat it off. So with that in mind, shall we move to pink?
Let's do it.
All right, so we're going to start pink conference by looking at the great match of F2O versus XD. Geranium, tell us about that one.
Well, XD took the 17-11 win over F2L. F2L, who I think was top of the conference before last week, with Lasagna taking the Game 5 win over Marty B. Seth for Christ also taking a Game 5 win. Over Diamond. Dazer also taking a Game 5 win over Rebobson. Corbett taking the Game 4 win over Itachi. And then finally, Dabs in the 5, getting a Game 4 win over Tom Carter. Huge week for Israel's Disciples. F2L showing why they're still near the top of the conference, getting 11 points in a 4-1 almost sweep. Very strong showing for Israel's Disciples, and now they are much closer to making playoffs for, I think, a third season in a row.
Yeah, this is important for XD and kind of a big point. You need to hold back F2L. I don't know if Turtle was back. Is Turtle back yet?
Yes, I got it. I got it turned in. We're good.
Nice. So, Turtle, tell me, what are your thoughts on F12 versus XD?
Yeah, XD here beating out F12, pretty big upset, getting quite a few points. So if yeah, XD just clawing their way back up, it doesn't look like they're into amazing spot of playoff contention before this week, but with this week, certainly definitely what they needed if they want to get back up into those top ranks of the Pink Conference.
For sure. Now, let's take a look at our second match. We have one more match for Pink to end the night. This is the final match of the night. So, Chicken, tell me about CMU facing Big DK Energy.
Yeah, in this match, we had two teams that are kind of middle of the pack in Pink Conference battling it out. And the Cheesemongers United came up with a pretty crucial win for their season, and a somewhat crushing blow for Big DK Energy as it knocks them a few spots down the standings. So on CMU we had Pyro Llama, Wild Nine, Random Dude, and Not Bamity all getting wins, giving their team a 19-point week. Memnarch not able to take it down against Jammies, falling 0-3, which is pretty surprising to me because I think Memnarch is one of the 5-0 players or 4-1 players in Legacy doing, or no, he's 4-0 in Legacy, right? But yeah, doing quite well in Legacy series in the 1 seed. So surprised to see him at 1-2 so far, but you know, 3 match sample size, quite small. So who could easily bounce back in the last couple weeks and going into playoffs if the Cheesemongers end up making it. Yeah, so this win puts them at 4th place in the conference, exactly 1 point ahead of Zyrella's Disciples. So certainly not comfortable at all in their playoff spot, but has to feel good to get so many points in the back half of the season like this.
For sure. I mean, it's very important that you can't let it get too late. And CMU just managed to still keep XD down and to get pretty close to 8 p.m. Um, or actually, Duranium, anything you want to say about this one?
Sure. So when it comes to CMU, um, they brought a few decks that I mean this match brought a few decks that we haven't seen in quite a long time. With so much focus on Quest DH, on Miracle Rogue, on Hunter. Here we see quite a few. There's Curse Imp Warlocks on both sides. There's Boon Priests. This is the first priest that I've seen in Hero and sorry, not in Hero, in Pro and in basically the entire season. Um, and yeah, unfortunately, Rosino lost with that. We even got Random Dude and Paralama not bringing DHs. What's up with that? Well, they won those, so maybe there's other strategies to explore, and we're seeing a little bit of that here.
Maybe indeed. Now, taking this match into account, Chicken, what are the standings for Pink looking like at the end of the week?
All right. At the top of Pink Conference with 92 points, we have Chicken is down just in time to clown. At 87 points, we have F2L. And we have APM, Arthas, Peter, and Menethil at 76 points. Below them are the Cheesemongers United at 69 points. At 68, 1 point below, are the Disciples of Zyrella. And in 6th place, we have Big DK Energy at 63 points. Opportunistic Pro Players in 7th place at 62 points. And in last place, we have Zymox and Chill at 48 points.
So it really seems like everyone, but maybe Cymox and Chill, still has a good chance of making playoffs. What do you think, Chicken?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the the fourth spot in Pink Conference is, I think, going to be an absolute bloodbath in the last couple of weeks. I mean, there are four teams that uh, are very realistically able to qualify for that fourth spot, and I would say even APM isn't really secure completely in making playoffs. So it really is. God, I feel like we're so spoiled, at least this season. It seems like every conference has a lot of competitive teams that are able to make playoffs. There are, I mean, there's only a couple teams that are out of the running. Even with 2 weeks left, it seems um, things are so balanced around the middle of the pack of the conferences that it really is anyone's spot, except for Zymox and Chill.
Yeah.
They cannot make it.
This week specifically, that Arthas Peter Menethil is facing Cheesemongers United, so they're both kind of playing spoiler to each other.
Wow, yeah, that's another. I mean, if they kind of split their points and maybe tie or something like a 12 or 13 point tie, then I mean, XD could realistically pass both of them with like a 23-point week or something like that. So, I mean, and then yeah, I mean, big DK Energy and OPP could move even closer. So, I think Pink Con, if there's one conference to watch in all of THL going into the last week, I think it is Pink Conference.
All right. So let's take a look at the player power rankings for Pro. Since this is our last thing before our checkout question, and we can end the show on relative time. So keeping us going for our final section, Turtle, why don't you tell us our Pro PPR starting from the bottom?
Yeah, for pro PPR, honorable mentions coming in at 15th. We've got Lasagna at 4-1 with a 13-9 score. 14th, we've got King Viking 23, 3-2 with a 13-10 game score. 13th, Pyrolama 3-1 with an 11-6 game score. 12, you have Parawox at 4-1 with a 13-8 game score. And then 11th, we've got Ridiculous Hat with also a 4-1 with a 13-8 game score. And now on to our top 10. Coming in at 10th, we've got Luke McMack, 4-1 with a 13-9 game score. Ninth, we've got Heat Chalk, 4-1 with a 13-8 score. 8, we got Pocket Train at 4-1 with a 14-7 game score. 7th, we've got Ariana 20 at 4-1 with a 13-8 game score. 6, Neji Boston 4-1 with a 14-7 game score. And now our top 5, we've got Agent Pui at 4-1 with a 13-10 score. 4, we've got Cookie Monst at 4-1 with a 14-7 game score. Third, Lammy Series 4-0 with 12-5. Second place, Marty B 4-1 with a 14-10 game score. And then our only 5-0 player for pro, we've got our very own Ron Mexico 5-0 with a 15-4 game score.
Nice. As always, congratulations to every single one of our players in PR. And if you have complaints like how's banter not here, etc., DM them to Marty. He can explain to you, or DM them to Chicken, and he can tell you about some of the numbers since Chicken has access to the sheet. So with that, I'm going to bring us back to the main screen. I can ask you all the checkout question. Now, I want to ask what is happening to a few of the cards that we heard are going to be changed. I'm not going to ask about all of them because there's so many cards. I'm going to give 4 cards to each of you. And I just want you to tell me, what do you think is going to happen? And we're going to start with Turtle here. Turtle, thank you so much for joining us tonight. My checkout question for you is, what do you think is going to happen to Nelly, Time Warden, Shock Spitter, and the Vengeful Walloper?
So I only know what 2 of those cards do.
I can
But,
explain if you're missing any. But
Yeah, I think we're just gonna see the Nelly change get reverted, hopefully. I think that'd be fun, make Warrior actually a playable class. Shock Spitter, it'll be interesting what they do with this. I mean, like, I think, like, the cleanest change, or, like, the one that would, like, be the best for the game would probably just be take away the Beast tag off Shock Spitter, but I'm not sure how they would do that without, like, completely changing the art of the card. So I imagine what Blizzard will do is just like it start at 0 mana, or like it start at 0 damage and then goes up by 1, so it just does 1 less, or just 4 mana. I think one of those 2 changes is going to be the most realistic. And then I have no idea what those other 2 cards do.
so someone wants to help me with the Time Warden. The Vengeful Walloper is a Demon Hunter card. It's a 7 mana 4/4 that costs 1 less for each outcast card you
Probably
that
it's a
is on
6
the
mana
game,
4/4. I like 6 mana 4/4. Just get it down a turn sooner. I don't think they'll buff the stats of it, but just getting it down sooner probably. Is Time Warden the one that like gives your dragons Divine Shield and Taunt?
Yes.
It
Yes.
is a
That card
paladin
is
What is
card.
sick. I don't know how they're gonna change that card, because like that's like obviously like the core card in that deck. So I'm not sure how they would like change that without just like making it cheaper to
It
like
does-
support the rest of the cards. Like it is a really good card if you get it off. So maybe they'll just like make it like a few mana cheaper and like give it some stats less, hopefully. Because Dragon Paladin is a super cool archetype. And I kind of hope that we can actually play around with that, so we're not just forced to play pure Paladin for the 17th year in a row. Even though I'm sure Geranium Battle would love that.
Pure Paladin looks very different. Sad.
It is odd to me. I feel like this card is good. Like if dragons are good, this card is like really good. So it seems weird to me that you're like buffing one of the. Maybe the card is bad, and I don't know ball or something, but like I feel like this is a good card, and we could buff some of the bad cards to make Dragon Paladin viable. But maybe this will be the change that we need. But it might be, I don't know. It feels like it'll be like if it does end up being really successful, it feels like it might be like another Belinda situation or something. Surely not to that extent, of course, but like I don't really understand the design philosophy of like buffing the key cards that are already like that make the archetype strong rather than just kind of shoring up the archetype as a whole and making it more consistent.
I agree.
Yeah, plus like there's not a lot of classes right now that can deal with a board full of Divine Shields. Like what pings like there's like Warrior doesn't really exist. Like maybe the Nelly change will make Control Warrior back and you can just brawl it away, but like yeah, if Paladin just gets a mid-range Divine Shield board, that's gonna be very hard for a lot of decks to deal with.
In the same vein, going back to what you were saying about Shock Spitter, I think if they did a change to the damage, it would probably be not very much of any change. But a change to the mana, if they up it one more time, then that's like actually a 2 mana change, because a lot of the combos are you need to play double Shock Spitter in order to do things. So now you can't do double Shock Spitter plus Bran. Or if you do that, then you need to have mana discounts. So then you're focusing, like, now you're almost forcing yourself to play the 3 mana 3/2 weapon. So like, I think Shock Spitter going to 4 would definitely hurt the deck a lot. I don't know exactly if it would be unplayable, because it still has a lot of really crazy good matchups. But against the general stuff, I think it would be pretty bad.
Yeah, surely Ron will still find a way to make that good.
Yeah, I think that is a good point. I do like Turtle's idea of making it start at 0, I think more than the idea of bumping the mana cost up because both of them kind of serve to slow down the deck, but I think 4 mana might kill the card for the reason of like you can't go brand double shock spitter. So and yeah, like I think like on average, like the taking 1 damage off the base will slow you down by like maybe a turn or something like that. And then while it'll also kind of make it easier for your opponents to kill you because you won't have as much damage on your shock spitter to like throw into a minion and then like devour and swarm it. So I think that would be yeah, a really good change.
Okay. Now, I'll move to our second round of questions. So, Chicken, thank you so much for being in the show tonight. What is going to happen to Sinful Brand, Final Showdown, Astalor, and The Last Stand?
Hmm. Okay, so Sinful Brand. Yeah, 1 mana cards are always a bit tough, especially with the way Sinful Brand is worded. Like, base, I feel like there's two options: either make it cost 2 mana, or make it 1 damage each. I
Pretty
think,
much.
I think, 2 mana is keeps it a little more viable, even though you are doubling its cost. I think doubling the cost is less of a hit to it than having the damage on it. Because I think if you just take like a certain amount of damage out of Demon Hunter, like the deck will just die rather than just being slowed down a turn. So I think Sinful Brand going to 2 mana makes a bit more sense. Next one, Final Showdown. I mean, these two cards go pretty hand in hand. Final Showdown, I think it'll probably get like the quest warlock, the warlock quest treatment of the first stage will also be 5 cards. I it's such a hard like God, it's such a hard card to balance because like what are you gonna do? Not make it reduce the cost of the cards or something like that? Like I can't really see it being anything other than just bumping it up 1 card on the first stage, which will probably like do a similar thing to like the shock spitter nerf of like slowing the deck down by a turn.
Well, it does
I
when one more card gets reduced.
Yeah, but it probably means you're a turn slower on your first stage, and then like by consequence, all your stages. I think like did Sathino is Sathino getting nerfed or no?
No, not
No.
touched.
Yeah, I was surprised by that one. Like I feel like I mean, okay, Demon Hunter Quest is a broken card. Like it is a 1 mana rune mithril rod that starts in your hand, like at the start of the game. It is nuts for sure. But I also was surprised to see Sathino not hit because it feels like that card causes a lot of problems whenever she's around. But yeah, I think just bumping it up. I think bumping it up to 5 on the first stage will be enough to slow the deck down. Like coupled with the Sinful Brand nerf, I think those two in combination will probably be enough to stop Demon Hunter from going a bit too crazy.
I will note I still wanted Lady Snap there, or Steno, however you say it. But let's talk about the other two. What about Astalor?
Oh, right. Astalor is a weird one because it feels like when you look at each stage, you're like, oh, that's pretty good, but it doesn't seem broken. But it's kind of like the third stage is obviously quite powerful at the Mana Thirst 10 threshold. But yeah, it's kind of like a card that does everything. You have like your kind of small spot removal on the first stage, and you have armor gain on the second, and then you have a burst finisher on the third stage. So it's a it doesn't do anything really the best, but it does everything fairly well. Aside from like hard removal, which it doesn't really do. But yeah, maybe just I think the frustration point on Astalor is probably the third stage burst damage. Maybe the Mana Thirst will do 12 damage instead of 16. Like I think the base 8 is fine. Like I don't think that's really a problem. But yeah, maybe the Mana Thirst will do like 12, that range or something like that. Because yeah, like getting especially classes that can play multiple Astalors, that that's certainly a point of frustration for a lot of people. Either on the Druid combo turn or the Rogue shadow stepping like Astalor multiple times and then being able to play like Astalor like because it also especially for Rogue it's so hard to deal with for a lot of decks because you're generating 8/8, like probably clearing your opponent's board and dealing some face damage, like 3 turns in a row sometimes, 4 turns in a row sometimes. So I think just nerfing the top end damage will probably solve it. And oh yeah, the last one is Last Stand, which is I am looking the card up now.
Isn't that the Dirty Rat and
Taunt.
Warrior for 1 mana?
Draw a taunt minion,
Oh,
double
what?
its stats. This card has to. What the heck is this card? What are even the taunt minions in standard right now? It's
Ripple
so weird.
stats.
Black Scale Brute doesn't even synergize with this card because it specifically says summon a 5/6 Naga with Rush. It's not like summon a copy of it with Rush or something like that.
I think the 4-mana 5/10 is still on standard. Happened from a really
4-mana?
long time ago. Right? 4-mana 5/10 that
What?
damages itself by 6.
That card hasn't been in standard for like 3 years.
Oh, Injured Marauder is in standard.
There's no way. What?
Yeah.
It's Forged in the
that's
Barrens. I know it
I'm
is a.
irritated.
Everyone knows it's a wild card, but
Yeah,
it is from Forged
it's a
in the
wild
Barrens.
druid card. You
Yep,
get
so
it off
that's a-
open summons.
Set the 10/14 the turn after you play Last Stand. It was pretty good. Then
Yeah,
they're,
so maybe
they're
this card
buffing
needs
it.
to be 3 mana, and then you can curve into Injured Marauder. But 3 mana draw 1 minion. Okay, the doubling stats is quite good. So maybe it's good enough. But yeah, maybe 3 mana. Sure. I really have no idea how to judge this card.
Wait, how much is it right now?
4 mana, if you can believe that.
I don't think I'd even played at 3 mana.
Yeah,
Put it to 2, Blizzard. Come on.
this card is really bad. It also doesn't help that there aren't many great like high stat with a drawback or something like that taunt minions.
They're also
What-
that
does-
the like warrior legendary, right? The one that like is a minion but then like turns into a weapon. Maybe they also give that taunt so you can double the stats off that.
Remornia. They are buffing Remornia, so I don't know.
Maybe the buff is giving it taunt.
That would be crazy, having a 10 attack weapon with Rush.
Yeah.
Huh?
Warrior needs it.
Yeah, that would be kind of nuts. But yeah, I'm not. I like this card is actually very difficult to judge. I think because there just isn't a deck in Warrior right now that is even close to having this sort of archetype. Like it would be like bringing Big Warrior back, but now Big Warrior doesn't really have the same.
Don't tell Milo.
Yeah, Big Warrior doesn't really have the same type of support as it did before. There is still Cowardly Grunt, but they're just the big minion payoff isn't really there as much. Like losing Rattlegore was pretty tough.
I don't know. If you just like brought this plus Injured Marauder as the only 2 cards with synergy in the deck, because it does tutor a taunt minion.
And then you draw Injured Marauder before this card, and you're just running 2 awful cards in your deck.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. It's
Like, I don't think the
then you're
payoff is
then you're just
even
playing Control
worth it
Warrior
for
alongside it.
Injured Marauder.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
perhaps decent enough. I mean, if you're playing the current version of like the 30 card Control Warrior running Galvan Guard, it basically just tries to get in some chip damage, like plays for tempo when it can, and then just either finisher with like Astalor or Captain Galvangar or just Rikara swings. So just having a big tempo play like this on 4 could be quite good for the deck. I mean, a lot of decks don't have hard removal right now. Maybe with Rogue being less prevalent and not having the destroy a minion potion around as much, this sort of thing could be viable. So yeah, maybe three mana curving into Marauder could make it viable.
All right. So go for the final round of questions. Geranium. Is
Yeah,
Sinstone Graveyard, Wild Paw Knoll, Disruptive Spellbreaker, and Unholy Frenzy? How will they change these?
Before I get to those, I did want to mention about the DH. That there were DH decks that didn't include the quest, and there were DH decks that didn't include Brand, and they kind of just got pigeonholed into them because of Rogue. And now I'm going to talk about the Rogue cards, and if they nerf Rogue hard enough, it's quite possible DH will still see play even if those cards got nerfed hard. I don't know. We'll have to see. But as for Sinstone Graveyard and Null, I think that at least one of those two needs to be like fundamentally changed for Rogue to not be still just best in the game. Like if they nerf if they nerf Null to even just like 7 mana, like it's still possible Null getting discounted so much. Like a 2 mana Null that you still discount by just playing concoctions. It's just like so gross, and you'll still just get huge ghosts off the thing if that's what your game plan is. As for the Sinstone Graveyard, if you if you make it so it's, I don't know, every 2 cards, or if you make it so that if the ghosts don't have stealth or something like that. Like that's a fundamental change that makes it so that that card is like much worse. To the point of where maybe they're not playing it, maybe they're not playing that game plan. They're still going for tempo, but just maybe less of a miracle way. I don't know. If it was if the graveyard is just getting bumped up a mana and the Null's getting the fundamental change, I would guess that would be the doesn't interact with Maestro that's been thrown around a couple times.
Yeah, just
So
putting like non-rogue class card instead of non-class card on the text just fixes the Maestro interaction pretty easily.
yeah, and in that case, Maestro is gone, just like immediately almost,
Yeah,
unless you're playing Thief exactly, maybe.
Yeah, I think keeping Maestro around
then,
the way it does is like fun for Wild. It's like a unique effect, and I hope that they like gut Null instead of gutting Maestro, which it looks like that's what they're doing. Yeah, I agree with Max. I assume they'll fundamentally rework Null.
So yeah, if one of those 2 cards gets fundamentally changed, we'll see the deck change a lot. Maybe still be good. If both of those cards get fundamentally changed, we might see the main Rogue deck be Thief Rogue again, which is fine for some people.
Yeah, it's only the 4th expansion in a row where Thief Rogue is really popular.
Yeah.
Jesse Alexander fans going crazy.
Anyways, as for the 2 buffs that we've got here, we've got Disruptive Spellbreaker and Unholy Frenzy. So Unholy Frenzy did not see play anywhere. That's the 3 mana, all your minions attack a target, and then if any of them die, you resummon them. It will still not see any play. I don't care what you change it to. If you change it to 0 mana, it might see play. If you change it to 2 mana, which is what I'm guessing they're going to do, it's not going to see play. Your cards are, you summon, you have a bunch of minions out. They are not going to have a big enough minion for it to have, like, you can kill a minion with it and resummon your minions, but you're not going to get enough really value from it. Your minions might not even die. Yeah, it's so good.
It's gonna make
Unholy
Lady
Frenzy.
Hunter better in Arena than it already is, or Death Knight.
DK, Death Knight. Yeah, but probably will. Probably will be still an Arena card. And it'll probably still be a card that you see off of like when you're a card that you see off of School Teacher for the full 3 mana value and you don't pick it, that's a bad card. Like that card gets discounted by 2 already off rip, and you get a minion along with it, and it's not a good pick. They're not going to change it to be good. Disruptive Spellbreaker, on the other hand, is more just sort of like the meta was not kind to Control Warrior, just being a bit too fast, being a little bit too resilient. So Disruptive Spellbreaker getting buffed is actually a little bit scary. If it goes to 4 mana, like if this becomes a Control Warrior meta where you're getting hand disrupted by all the different Control Warrior cards, everyone's going to complain about it, just like they complain about Priest metas. So, Blizzard's doing a little bit of a dangerous thing here. If Disruptive Spellbreaker instead gets changed to be like discard 2 spells, also insane. If it gets changed to Battle Cry, discard, more than 1 spell. It's just like I don't like thinking about much of any of this. The changes to Disruptive Spellbreaker.
Yeah, I thought that Warriors like disruptive capabilities were already quite good. I mean, you had a 1 mana Dirty Rat spell to deal with your opponent's minions, and and this card is like not bad. Like even like as a battle, if this were a battle cry, it would not be terrible. And yeah, this card could just stick, and if it sticks, it's just absurd. It's so like this at 4 mana, just like I mean, this just coming down and potentially ending the game on turn 4 does not seem very fun. It even if it's not like I don't know, that broken, it's just not really a fun game experience of just like starting the game, playing 3 turns and then losing immediately. I don't it's not really a play pattern that I enjoy too much. And yeah, if it's 4 mana and your opponent's on coin, they might keep 2 of these and just coin on 3 and then play another one on 4 and make you quit out of the game forever. It just doesn't seem all that fun for the whole family.
Yeah, and 5 health on turn 4 is so hard to deal with, especially if you're losing spells. That would be the fast answers. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I want to give a super special thank you for Super Chicken, Geranium Battle, and Turtle for being our hosts tonight. I want to thank you, our viewer. And I want to wish you all a great week of THL. We have shows. If you want to volunteer to play your match on one of the shows, post in the stream matches. We're always looking for good matches. Or DM Saku, DM Azalea, DM me. We can find you a match. But with that said, I want to take this opportunity to wish you a good night. And we will see you all next week on Hearthcenter right here at our usual time. Later, everyone.
Bye bye.